Hello and welcome to The Measure of Things, podcast brought to you by Stabila. Each episode, we sit down with people from across the construction industry to uncover what's shaping the industry and what's important to tradespeople today. So today's episode is all about online communities. Now, in an increasingly digital world, tradespeople are becoming more connected and platforms and pages are emerging where they can become more connected, seek advice, share knowledge, and support each other. So we're going to dig into online communities, how they get set up, how they're managed, where they're going, how they're bringing people together, and the challenges about actually trying to manage and moderate them. And we've got two excellent guests to help us navigate this. We have Sam Hoffman, who is the founder of the Tilers Community, Facebook group with over 7,000 members now.
Yeah,
right?
That's correct, yeah.
Brilliant. And we've got Ash Francis, who is the founder of the Bricklayers Social Club and the very successful Super Child competition. So guys, look, thank you. I know you've had a hell of a journey getting here, so thank you for joining us. But I want to start, before we get into online communities, I think a really important part of this story is that, Sam, you're a tiler, and Ash, you're a brickie. I think that's an important part of how the story evolves. So maybe start with you, Sam. How did you get into tiling in the first place?
So I actually got expelled from school early, so it wasn't really a choice. It was sort of, and I think that's a lot of tilers that we find, it's not through colleges because there's only a couple of colleges doing courses, so you almost fall into it. That's how I started in tiling, as a labourer, and then just went on and evolved, started my own business eventually, and to where I am now, really.
How long ago was that? I'm not trying to age you.
When I was 15, so that was 20 years ago now.
Nice. And what about you, Ash?
Do you want a long story or the short story?
Somewhere in between.
Right, so I never knew what I wanted to do. I left home at 15. I couldn't stay at home. I went and saw my uncle. He gave me 500 quid. And he said, go on then, if you want to go out by yourself, then go. I ended up on a train to Doncaster, got to Doncaster, went to the college, walked in and tried blagging a space at a college spot. And there's a lot more to it, the story. And she was like, what would you want to do? And I went, and she went, bricklaying? I went, yeah, all right, let's do bricklaying. I haven't got a phone and I haven't got an email address. And she said, we'll get you an interview now. So if you just wait here, come and someone will come down in an hour. And within an hour, I was enrolled into a bricklaying course. Shortly after, job centre, because I was under the age of 18. So I had to go and get, housing benefit, I think it was. They put me up in a house and that was me. Started my life in Doncaster, level 1 brickwork back in 2008.
Why Doncaster? You don't sound like you're from Doncaster.
I'm not from Doncaster, no. Well, I suppose a long story short, my mum's a heroin addict and we'd moved around a lot of places when I was younger. And one place that resonated that I remembered when I was younger was we'd lived around Wakefield and Doncaster. And so I just kind of was like, I'll go back up there. I don't really know anyone up there, but I liked it up north. So I got on a train and went up north.
And you've moved around quite a lot since, haven't you?
So just as I suppose as a bricklayer, especially if you don't have a family, you just kind of go where the work is. And that's what I did. I just kind of worked with a builder. We'd go and work in one area, we'd go and work in another. I've been Wales, Cornwall, Essex, Suffolk, Kent. I've worked in Kent, London, Midlands, worked everywhere. So, yeah.
Nice.
Just go where the work is.
So how does it evolve, I guess, for you guys from, being on the tools to getting involved to setting up a community group? So, Sam, for you, like what's the backstory to Tilers Community? When did it start? How did you think it up?
There's other groups before, but you always looked at them and thought that there was potential for a lot of companies were spending a lot of money advertising to tilers rather than engaging with tilers. And there's like I said, not a lot of college courses available. So it was like just an idea of why don't these companies spend their money actually engaging with the tilers and offering them training, stuff like that, rather than advertising to them through a magazine. And so I was part of another group before then, and it was always, you can never do things your way that you want to do your way. And the vision I had wasn't what everyone else had. So then we started one and started it on our own path to try and create what we was, which was improve the education and support.
Is that what, when you say what your vision was, is that what the vision
Yeah,
was? Education, support?
Yes, so it's all of it's free education. That's all supplied and financed by the companies. So they put that on. Obviously, in exchange, they're going to gain business from it. And that was the idea. Rather than them spending money advertising the products, teach people how to use them. For tilers, I think it was quite isolated. It was almost like two sides. There was the manufacturers and there was the tilers. There was nothing in between. So it was bringing it together, really, just to support both.
But how do you, because you started Facebook groups, how do you start out? Is it as easy as you create it on Facebook, you get the network you've already got to join it, and it grows from there?
Yeah, so we created the group. Obviously knew a lot of tilers from other groups and stuff like that. And then put out feelers for certain companies, and some companies came in early and said that, yeah, they want to be part of this. They like the idea, they like the whole concept of it, and they want to be in early. And then as we've gone along the route, there's been other companies that have come on board and they've said, look, we like what you're doing. We want to be part of this and part of the community. And so it sort of grew from there. It wasn't an overnight thing, but it got to a certain stage where all of a sudden it just went. And it's become like huge as it is now, really.
You said you were part of groups before. What is there a lot of different groups that are specific for tiling at the moment? Do they all do different things? I guess how do you stand out?
So there's not manufacturers actually working with any of the other groups directly, like they're not associated, like whereas we're officially associated with groups. And I think them groups, and probably the same as Ash, he's got a passion for what he does, and that's what helps. So I think they see what we was doing was right, and it wasn't being run as just a group where everyone can slate each other or that. It was actually to support each other. So they sort of see that it wasn't just an online free-for-all, and it had some structure behind it. And so they wanted to be part of it and try and help build it, obviously.
I suppose it's just a bit of a shame that there's not more access to proper trade-specific training, and it kind of creates somebody that's on the tools themselves to try and create something to bring people together.
I think it's probably that you're the best placed. We've got an admin team as well, so there's 5 other people there, and they're like-minded and they push for it, and they do a lot of work behind the scenes as well. And I think we understand it better than anybody else will. So a manufacturer will see it from their view, but they won't see it from our view. So it's almost like becoming the middleman and trying to make things align.
I mean, we got involved with Tyler's community as Stabila for that reason, that we were keen to try and support and engage directly with Tyler's. And I think a lot of the associations and other bodies that exist at the moment, they don't give you that ability to talk to people.
Yeah, it almost felt like there was a sort of like a line in the middle of this is this side, this is this side. It was just trying to push them together and actually say to, like yourself at Stabila, engage with them direct, let them engage with you direct. And I think a lot of the bigger companies have took the less corporate look, and they're actually engaging directly. Like you've got some out there now, they'll go and visit tilers on site to demonstrate models and stuff, rather than just videos online. So I think it's more of a personal approach to it.
Yeah. What about you, Ash? So Bricklayers Social Club was sort of where it began before we evolved into Super Trial. Where did that come from?
Well, the scary thing is Super Trial was actually before Bricklayers Social Club.
Was it really?
Pool planning. So I knew I wanted to do Super Trial. It wasn't called Super Trial. It's had various names along the time over its time period. But you can't just kind of all of a sudden have a bricklaying competition if you haven't got no one behind it. You need to have a community first. You need to get people to get behind it before you go and do something stupid like a bricklaying competition. So with that, I then started to look at the market, and that was what's going on in the bricklaying world, the community, and I just started to realise how fractured it was, very defragmented, fragmented. It was a lot of, like Sam was saying, a lot of pages just slating each other off. Nothing was very positive. Nothing was really positive at all. So I kind of went, right, I'm going to create my own community now, and we're going to be positive, and we're going to put the bricklayers at the top of the pedestal, whatever the saying is, and they come first. And the way we work it is that the brands support the bricklayers, and that is essentially what we do. We get people like yourselves and other brands to support us, and what we do is we give that back to the bricklayers through training, through Super Trail. Now, obviously, we've done 2 trips to Germany now. It's essentially one big CPD. I don't know if the wine tasting counts as CPD, but
I think they learned something.
Yeah, but yeah, and then obviously the tutor side of it as well was the next big step for us in the evolution. But it was when there's so many people, especially in the brickwork world, who all work very individually, or they work in a small gang. It's trying to get them all together. Because they all share the same passion. They all love what they do. Why don't we champion that together? And that is pretty much what happened. Overnight, I would say overnight, over 6 months, 12 months, 2 years, it just grew, it snowballed, and everyone was like, yeah, we want to be part of something. We want to belong. And they didn't belong. And a lot of bricklayers, especially the older generation, a lot of their qualifications don't even count for anything because they're whatever they were, the old city and guilds papers or whatever, and they've just been lost into this ether of laying bricks for decades. And now we've got some members that are in their 70s. Like, we just love being part of something, and sharing conversation with people that are just passionate, and that we can also pass on our information onto that next generation. And that's what happens.
It's nice. I think that that sense of belonging's quite important. I think from an outsider looking in, and like I've talked to quite a few tradespeople over the years, that something that seems quite consistent is even if you're working in gangs of people, it can be quite lonely. Even if you're in a business, you have to be financially independent because you're self-employed. And I think that ability to bring people together is important. Is that, you find that similar with Tyler's community?
Yeah, I think you get some members that will go on there, just get the information that they need, and then they go again. But we've always started it from the very start that the whole concept of it is, if you want to take out of the group, that's fine, but put something back into the group. That goes for members, for companies, everything. So I know that Instagram and stuff, there's a lot of people that are like what you call influencers, and it's about them and what they do. Whereas the community, there isn't any shine out person. It's about the whole community. So the community is the influencer. So if you want to put in, then obviously you can take out, but don't start going in there and trying to take out for likes and stuff like that without putting in. So I think there's quite like a brotherhood. So some other members will message me and they'll say, I haven't seen him comment for a while. Do you want me to check in on him, or do you want to check in on him? And there's been quite a lot about that, and I think it's almost like a group of you, because obviously if you are out alone, especially Tyler's, a lot of them are out on their own. We've set up WhatsApp groups and stuff like that so that people can just support each other and be there for each other, because it can be stressful, same as your job.
Yeah, we've done the same thing. We've just kind of, you get to notice like patterns in people, and then all of a sudden someone just disappears. Well, not disappears, but you see that they're not posting, they're not commenting, or they're not interacting in the chat, and then you're like, hold on, let's just try and get hold of him. And there was one individual that we all kind of start to really panic, because we know that he'd struggled in the past, and like we was all ringing his phone out, and eventually we got hold of him, and he's like, yeah, I am going for a bit of a moment, I'm struggling at the moment, but look, I really appreciate you guys just kind of make sure that I'm okay, checking in on me. And like he's okay now. But yeah,
we've had a few like that as well, and we've got some mental health ambassadors in the group as well, so that they can contact them, and that's set up through the association as well, but they're members of our group, and they're publicly available, that if someone wants to message them, then they can speak to them, and they've done the webinar training and stuff like that. There has been a couple of people who have been saved, I know for definite. Obviously I won't name them, but just it makes you wonder, if there wasn't that community and they didn't have that feel, where would they have gone if otherwise?
It's like a camaraderie, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you actually have trained ambassadors? Because that was going to be one of my questions, was providing that care can be quite complicated.
Yeah, so in our group, the Tile Association, they have mental health ambassadors, and one of the admins of our group, We was already doing mental health awareness, and we do a lot of charitable stuff as well beforehand. But they've done training and stuff like that and webinars, so they're not fully trained, but they can speak to people and open the right channels, and we have quicker access for opening channels to people as well. So it's just that knowing, even sometimes it's just a neutral voice that's not their family or their friends or someone where they can speak to that doesn't affect their personal life around them.
Because I suppose you can be so in it with what you're doing in your own small world, having a broader community and other people that can reach out to you, or you can reach out to, can make all the difference.
It can be something as simple as probably same as yours. If someone's not experienced like yourself at bricklaying, and there's something that they come across that starts to stress them out, and then they can't afford to be there any longer because they're financially in a bit of trouble, and then all of them things amount up. Whereas it's as simple as them reaching out, asking, "Can you help me with this?" And we've had other members go and help them for a day just to get them back on track. They get paid for it, of course, obviously, but like networking to sort of get through the struggles together. Really,
we've done that a couple of times where we've had a bricklayer struggling on a site, needs a good push, and several of us will turn up, just give them a big push on the site. No one gets paid for it. It is literally, it's not because we wouldn't get paid for it. We don't do it to get paid. If someone's struggling like that, obviously there's going to be there's definitely a financial reason somewhere in there. But yeah, we've gone down to sites and given another fellow bricklayer a good push for a day or two, got another lift on a couple of houses, and they're straight again. So, you know what, the drive home, the smile on your face that you've helped someone, it doesn't cost us anything really. It's a bit of fuel. It's not really, just take it with your stride, don't you?
It's reminding people they're part of something. You're not just one guy on site by yourself. Everyone struggles, and you're a part of a bigger group.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think that's with mental health. I think it's a lot of the approach to it is when there is a problem, whereas preventive, like going and helping someone, like they could be struggling to pay the mortgage, not get that job done on time, they missed the mortgage payment, and it just brings up so much stress, whereas you've gone out and helped them. They've got that done, they haven't got that worry then, so it's avoided getting to that further point.
I suppose that's the really nice supportive side of communities that you create. But I also know that, and we're talking about it briefly before, that when people put themselves out there on social media, like we see it with different influencers, they put their work out there and they then just get loads of comments dragging them down or dragging them back. You should do things differently. Do you get a flavour of that in the communities that you guys have created? Yeah,
you got to be careful, because sometimes if they're clever enough, they're doing it for clickbait. Like they purposely, you don't always, unless you've got a keen eye for it, sometimes they are just doing it to get people to give you naturally.
They're more controversial because then it gets engagement, and that's what they're trying to do, is get the engagement. So they'll clickbait, as Ash says, they're trying to use what you've built there to cause a reaction. So you see some videos and they're like stupid videos. You're like, why are they doing that? That's not right. And you can see that's not right. But then they have loads of comments.
They're doing it on purpose.
And they're doing it on purpose to get like influence, to get the likes, to try and attract brands or stuff like that. Whereas my experience, it's not genuine, and it always wears out at the end. Whereas if you do the right thing throughout, then people will always support you. You support them.
It's crazy. Like you post, you see someone creates a fantastic gable end or some chimneys or a garden wall or whatever, and it looks really nice. It will get the likes, it will get the views.
It gets the support.
Yeah, but then you do something controversial like sticking wall ties to a steel with a mastic of some description, which you just would never do, but kind of swear blind that this is absolutely fine. People will go and they'll just jump on it, and it will just go viral. That's what people want. It's a frustrating, but I also get it. It's business. So it's you've got to find that fine line when you're going through social media and you're working in social media. I mean, we're not working in social media production, but we're trying to manage a social media account. It's just trying to fine tune what people see.
I suppose some of that as well goes to the platform that you're using. So I mean, Sam,
mainly Facebook, and it's mainly because you can have engagement and conversation in there, so you can put a post up and you can all talk about it and involve yourself in there. I find on Instagram it's more of short videos and maybe I'm wrong, but the way I see it is, look at me, look at what I've done. Whereas on Facebook, it's, I'm having trouble with this, or look, this is what I've done, and someone will go on there. And you do get some negative, but it's very minimal on the group. Most of it is all constructive criticism. They say, look, if you're doing that next time, try doing this and you'll find it easier. You'll always get someone that will slate someone and they've done it better and they've done it this way for 50 years, but 95% of it is always positive, really. It's about trying to help each other out.
I always thought Facebook had a bad reputation for that, like, you know, people sniping at each other.
We tried Facebook, we couldn't do it.
Really?
It didn't work. Did not work. The demographic on Facebook was vicious.
It
But on
can
Instagram,
be.
changed.
I think because we've like a new group, and I've been in other groups before, and people have sort of seen, and we've all explained the idea of it from the very start. We've had one where we've had a comment, like, we've got quite a few female tilers in there as well, and this is in the earlier days, and a man had gone in there and said, why are you tiling? And, you know, the normal sort of stuff. And it was actually the members that started going at him and really going at him, sort of outing him about it. And then we held a public poll and said, shall we remove him? And they all voted yes, but it was actually male members defending the female tiler against him. So I think it's almost self-policing, really. They sort of get the idea, they like it, and they don't want it ruined.
Yeah, humanity always normally wins, doesn't it? To be fair, it's just kind of like.
But you work off different platforms, don't you? I mean, it's Instagram, TikTok.
TikTok, not so much, just because I've got no idea how to do it properly. Instagram, YouTube. We do Instagram and Facebook are obviously the same platform, essentially. So whatever we put on Instagram goes on Facebook. Do try to do TikTok, but we do a lot of work on LinkedIn as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, we get quite a good return on LinkedIn, just like views and engagement. It's quite surprising.
So you have a LinkedIn too, don't you?
So we have a LinkedIn, which is more for us is, so the group that we have is private trade group on Facebook. It's not like a public group. I think when you have it public and anyone can join, so we have like a strict vetting system that we'll go through, and if they haven't answered all the questions, it's just automatically decline. If there's no proof of being involved in the trade, either through like yourself, a manufacturer or tiler, they don't get in. We have a real strict way of letting people in or letting them out. So I think it's about, for every 10 that try and join, I think 8 get declined. So we're quite strict on who we do let in. But that's our main one, is Facebook. And we use LinkedIn and like a business page on Facebook just to let people outside the group know what the group's doing. So we find a lot of companies are on LinkedIn, majority of them are. So we keep them up to date there. That's what. So we use LinkedIn and the Facebook business page as an update of what the group's up to.
So you stalk the marketing director or something. I'll have a word with you.
So it's more to keep people updated, and also the public, so they can see what the group's doing, because we have like a Find a Tiler page as well, which is to help network and match up tilers and customers, which I think I looked this morning, there was one on there which was about 175 metres of tiling. So it's trying to match people up with that. But obviously we get a lot of them wanting to join the trade group, which we won't do. It's protected for trade only. So we thought by having a Facebook business page, we can update them with bits we want to let them know, like a charity ride that was done. They can see that, but we don't want them to see people talking about pricing and stuff like that. So that's how we've done it. It might be different compared to your way you find LinkedIn.
No, I don't. To be fair, mate, you sound like you're doing a lot more than what we are. And that is predominantly because we kind of put Bricklayer Social Club down. Not put it down, but we kind of put it to one side to do Super Trail. So what you sounds like you're doing is pretty good.
Well, Super Trail's got its own life and breath now, hasn't it?
It's powered. So we've always kind of used the analogy. It's powered by the Bricklayer Social Club, because that is essentially what the community wanted, and that was something for them, which was an exhibition, which is all of the manufacturers and suppliers of tools, equipment, materials for the bricklaying trade and the masonry trade, shall we say, and the competition. And we couldn't have one without the other. We just thought an exhibition doesn't work and by itself, because there's many exhibitions, as we all know, I'm going to name them, but there is 20, 30 plus that happen every year. But what's unique is there isn't a competition for adults, pros. And an age-old question that we always have is, who's the fastest bricklayer? Or not who's the fastest bricklayer, sorry. How many bricks can you lay in a day?
Because it's money, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's evolved, and it's just taken up far much more time than I ever anticipated, along with the day job.
So I've seen it a few times, and no, I'm not involved in bricklaying, and we've always looked at that and thought that's something we'd like to do within the tiling industry, because we only have one event a year, and that is the Tile Association's Awards, which is a really good show, and it's the biggest show. But we've always thought, why don't we start our own one? So we're actually doing an awards night, which is like the own community awards, and it's a not-for-profit. It's £50 for a ticket with a 2-course meal to there. We've done it as literally everything we get, we're putting back into the event. But I've seen the Super Trail, and it's always something I've looked at and thought, same as tiling. Who can lay the most tiles in like an hour or something is.
But the invitation's there, like I said to you. The message is that we want to grow. We're going to grow Super Trail into super trades. So we've got a couple of trades in mind. Scaffolding was one of them, plastering and tiling. But it's not something that we want to look after, tiling or scaffolding, because we don't know anything about tiling.
I think it's something we would definitely look to be involved in. I think it's how well received it is for the bricklayers. And I mean, I've heard about it, and I'm not a bricklayer. I don't do anything to do with bricks. So if we were hearing about it, then I think it'd be good for like tilers to, if we can join on, like Ash has invited us to speak about, which would be quite good then.
But yeah, on the Bricklayer Social Club thing, it's it has taken a bit of a shelf for a minute, just while we get Super Trail kind of up and running properly. And then the BSC is going through a stage at the moment in the background where it'll be a charity. So we're going through all the process, which is, if anyone who's watching this knows about charities, it's very taxing. Not literally taxing.
I was going to say, it's the opposite of taxing.
It's quite paperwork heavy.
Yeah.
So all will become a charity, hopefully, in the next, 6 to 12 months, which will allow us then to have a board and trustees, and we can start putting people in place and paying people to run an actual charity to assist bricklayers with training, tools, equipment, events, all sorts of stuff. So yeah, got one thing at a time though.
You sound like the same as mine, where it's just evolved so quickly, and you'll get people sending you messages of, I've got this idea for this, and there's so many ideas that you could never get round to, and you have to try and focus on one bit at a time whilst trying to keep it all canned up.
Yeah,
I think this is one of, for me, the most important things I wanted to ask you both, because they're evolving, and they're evolving in different ways. There's so much you can do, and there's a lot of consistency to it. But what's also consistent is you've both got a day job.
Yeah.
And if anybody that understands organising events or even trying to be an admin on a community group, just doing that's a lot. So I guess I've got two questions. How do you manage juggling it, and why? Why do you do it?
For me, I'll be honest, I don't know how I juggle it at times. I think you just somehow manage to get bits done, and I've got a good admin team, a really good admin team that will pick bits up, and I think they're the same as me. I think you've got a passion for what you do, and you start something and you have an idea of what it's going to be, and then you don't realise how big it's going to be, how it snowballs, and then before you realise you've created a monster, and you can see the benefit it's doing for everyone. And sometimes you think, why don't I just stop this? I haven't got the time for this. Sometimes you get the people that you probably get, people hate you, they try and stop you, they try and put you down, and you think, why am I doing this? But then you can see how many people it benefits. So for us, it's almost like a monster that you've unleashed, and you're just trying to tame it all the way along. But then in the meantime, you realise how many people it's benefiting, so you don't want to stop it. It's almost like a vicious circle, really.
You can take the people that are putting you down and the challenge that comes with doing it and weigh that up versus the positive impact you have.
I might be biased, and it's not me trying to sound big-headed, but I think the industry's a lot better with what we've set up in it and the Tyler Community Group than what it was without it. So if we wasn't to do it, what would happen if that wasn't there? How many people would lose out, not have the benefits they've got? So I think it's too far gone to ever not do it. But like Ash was saying about the trust and stuff like that, I think our thing now is just moving forwards and trying to set it and establish it so it's something for life, not just in my time.
Yeah.
About you?
Yeah, well, so where do I find the time? I don't have any time. I seem to be, time, the most valuable asset, commodity I do not have. So my day job is I am a project manager. I work in central London. So my time is an hour on the train in the morning at 5 o'clock, and it's on the train home. If I can get a seat on the way home, which is normally very unlikely, and I'm normally home by 6:30. So good 13 hours out of the house every day. I get 2 breaks, so squeeze it in there. Look, I answer phone calls during work hours, shall we say. But on the whole, it's just kind of my evenings and my commute time is when I do it. For Bricklayer Social Club, Super Trail also has to fit in there, and Super Trail kind of takes precedence over the BSC at the moment because where are we? We are 7th of July today. I know this doesn't come out till September, but we are 5 weeks away. So
yeah,
and we've got like 2,500 people come in. Like hundreds of thousands of pounds has been spent on exhibitions and sponsors and stuff. So it takes a lot of time. Luckily, there is Joe and Jack floating in the background. I know Jack's currently on holiday and Joe's working on some other stuff. So between the 3 of us, it works. But I recognised that quite early on when I'd done the first Super Trail that this isn't a one-man show. Like, I can't do this by myself.
Yeah.
Not a chance.
So I suppose for you guys, it's the 3 of you. For you, Sam, do you have other admins? Is it just you?
No, so there is other admins. We've got Adrian and Clemency's been tile fixer of the year, won lots of projects at the awards and stuff like that. We've got Tom Payne, who he does bathroom fitting and tiling. He's really passionate about it. So is Hayden. He's another tiler that's really passionate about it, and Shane as well. So they're all really passionate about it, and they've got the same sort of thing of what I do. But I think majority of the stuff usually comes my way first, and then they try and help out and they do a lot of the group stuff. But I find that a lot of companies just want to speak to me. So luckily, unlike Ash, I work for myself. Like I'm a bit more free roaming where I can pick up the phone, but some days it's like 700-800 WhatsApp messages. Without sounding horrible, like 100 calls, I can't get to all of them. And obviously, I've got a phone now which is purely for Tyler's community, because obviously I've got my own business, so I'm trying to answer phones from the boys that work in or whoever, and you end up not ignoring messages, but you just can't get through them all quick enough. So it sort of takes like a priority, and you'll get some people, you probably get the same. If you don't answer the first time, they'll ring you again, and then they might send you a message on Facebook or a WhatsApp message. So most things go to me first, and then we try and sort out what we can between us, but it's not really manageable.
I have actually genuinely looked. You can actually hire a call centre in India. You can actually get space.
Can you?
Yeah. I have
to get them to take it.
It's like a central board. Yeah. So like you can call up and then it would say like that you get like choose an option. You get the same person each time, but you would essentially then get rediverted back to me. So it just delays it a bit.
It's like your own private PA.
Yeah, it's not really that. It's actually really cheap, to be fair.
I think with our group, we have so many manufacturers that are involved, and they're actually really good. That they want feedback off the members to produce like Ultratol created a tanking kit, and it was purely based on the feedback of members from the training days. They was doing questionnaires, and that's just come out, and that's been formulated to the group's sort of reference. But then you get, obviously we do like a mediation between companies, because I don't know if you have it as much in bricklaying, but there used to be, it's fixer error. It's fixer error. And it always used to be, it was fixer error. So then we'd like sort of say to them, well, why is it fixer error? And so now we created like a mediation between company and tilers, because there's a lot of tilers, it's never their fault when it is their fault. And there's manufacturers that say, no, it's not our fault, it's their fault. So we created that, but obviously then you get companies contacting you and they want to speak to me. So there's a lot of legal agreements, non-disclosure agreements and stuff like that, because they're producing materials and we get trial materials that could potentially be worth millions of pounds to competitors. So there's a lot of stuff that I can't pass over to the other admin that comes to me. And obviously I can't get anybody else to do it. So it's just juggling what you can and can't do and reminding members.
Yeah,
getting them to go direct onto the group rather than asking me, how do I do this? And it's not me being rude to them. It's just that, like you were saying about time, you just don't have the time.
Yeah, so we have the same. We've had the same thing. We've been part of the development for several tools that are on the market. I can't say which ones, but yeah, several tools that are on the market, or some to be released, in fact, which also then come with NDAs, and which don't mean anything anyway. But anyway, as we all know, let's be honest.
Don't tell the lawyers that the NDA
No,
doesn't mean anything.
We don't share the information, obviously. But
Take your house from you, Ash. Be careful.
You had
Got those new products, by the way.
yeah, well,
if you had court
Don't
letters as
say it.
well.
yeah,
Don't say
it's just like there's actually like a loophole in the fact that me and you could have a conversation about it, and then no one would know that we'd had a conversation about it. So then the NDA is kind of pointless. I'm not sworn to silence. But anyway,
So once we sign it, we've there's like they're recorded and stuff like that, like, and it's like witnesses and stuff like that. So I mean, I would never share that information. That's why we're trusted. But like, I wouldn't answer one myself.
yeah, I mean there's some exciting stuff that's in the pipeline. I mean, we are sworn to secrecy, so we keep our mouth shut naturally.
Ash,
Go on.
you didn't say why. Why do you do it?
Because bricklaying saved my life, and that's what I swear by. Is that moment I left home, I had nothing. I had a Bergen from when I was in Army Cadets, with a small amount of belongings in the rucksack, and a woman at a desk quite kindly offered me a course in bricklaying, and I took the course in bricklaying, and that has provided everything I've had in my life so far. It's put me where I'm sat today. So I'm forever grateful for the trade that I've got. If it was carpentry, if it was sparks, if it was anything, I'd always be thankful, because that is where it started for me. And I'd say my life is because I could have gone down a complete different route given the world I was brought up into and given. And that is very much like life is what you make it. So I feel that there is many young boys and girls who might be in a similar position to me, who just need that opportunity, or to see that there is a lot that can be done. You can achieve a lot, in having a trade, not just brickwork, and that there is a community of supportive people in that industry. It's not all about shouting, swearing, although I do swear a lot.
You've not sworn on this, so
No, I haven't yet. No, I've been trying to be very careful.
Well done.
I throw myself off there. I try not to swear. Yeah, and offer people opportunity and guide them to courses, and put them with other people. Pair them up with people who might be able to help them, give them direction.
Do you find it gave you a focus, something to focus for and to aim for and stuff like that, rather than the diversions? Myself, I was all in, like with tiling, and it's all or nothing. And that was the focus. And if you've got that focus there for a lot of members as well with mental health problems, that is their focus, and that's the path they follow. It's what keeps them distracted from what they are doing or what they could be doing.
Yeah, anyone who knows me well enough and knows the Bricklayer Social Club, I was asked the question so many times, like, why? Like, what's the... And I was like, I don't know yet. It's coming. The penny will drop one day. And I wouldn't say it hasn't dropped, but it's quite clear what it is. It is a community for bricklayers. There isn't a single thing. There isn't one single thing that it is, so to speak. It is just... It's an additional... It's like a helpful phone number, and just someone that you can call. It's the Ghostbusters for bricklaying. It's like if you need to call someone or have a conversation or ask someone about a type of bond or something, you're going to call.
You know where you can go to.
Exactly. And that is it, really. We get so many messages from young lads and girls from around the world saying, how do I get into brickwork? What do I have to do? Like, what's the process? What tools do I need? And that is what I answer all those messages.
I suppose it's you can see the motivation in you guys to do it, and there'll be loads of people that are now part of that community that have the same reasons for being involved and for supporting you, either admin or Joe and Jack or beyond into the broader community. There's clearly a need for it. People are gravitating to these communities because They need access to advice, to training. They need support. They need to be part of something a bit bigger. And there's a pastoral care that comes in from a mental health perspective. I guess without getting too political, what further support is needed? Because I suppose I look at it from an outsider, and should it take, two guys that are on the tools, and I know there are other groups and other people involved to drive these things forward, or should this be where Tiling Association are involved? I know they are involved with the group, or Guild of Bricklayers, or whatever it is, Skill Build, that are actively involved in supporting things.
Yeah, so I mean, that was kind of one of the first battles for the first couple of years, is trying to get people to understand. Oh, no, not to get them to understand, is to make them feel like we wasn't stepping on their toes, because it felt like we was kind of encroaching in their space, but we was doing it better. Like, there was no two ways about it. It was that we was engaging with the community effectively, and we was growing numbers at a rate that we just didn't expect through BSC and Super Trail. And then when you start having conversations with other groups and associations, oh, you're just a speed competition. There's no skill in that, or you're just a bunch of influencers and stuff. Okay, you obviously don't get it yet. Roll on this year. I've had conversations with several associations, and they all want to be part of what we're doing because they now get it, and it's like, okay, I'm glad you want to be part of it. It's just a shame it's taken you bloody 5 years to
waited for it to grow to a scale.
Yeah, now you want to be part of it. Why couldn't you have been behind it when we first started this? We've had a couple of there was one or two that were behind it from the beginning, but the main ones, they were kept it as an arm's length, we say.
Yeah.
Which I get. They've been established. When you look at certain associations, guilds, whatever you want to call them, they've been around for 50, 100 years, and they're still going. I suppose they essentially no different to us to be like they have a brand that they need to protect, and they have to be careful. They don't want to open the doors and let some community that some random blokes just set up, because it could just destroy it. So I get they're careful. They don't open the floodgates up straight away. But
you, Sam, you work with the Tilers Association. It seems that they've been quite involved, or you've been quite involved with them.
They were, and then we sort of, same as what Ash said, it seems like we wasn't stepping on each other's toes, but there's that middle line where it needs to be separate. And I say that we do a lot of things that they'll never be able to do. They can't relate to another tiler like we can. And although you can phone up their technical line and get some technical assistance, they want to have people that are not just dictating from a book. They want people that are actually on site and understand it. So I think we've both come, us and the Tile Association, realised there's a need for both of us. Both of us are doing what we need to do for the industry, but we're doing slightly different things. So where they cover the British standards and stuff like that, where we don't do that, we don't want to do that, we're not interested in doing that. We're sort of supporting a member directly, and I think that's their weakest point, that they can't support a member directly like we can, whereas they do the legal side of things and stuff like that. So I think for us, what we do, we're never going to stop what we're doing. We're not going to hold ourselves back from going further and further, and we know that'll upset some people, but I think there's a need for both of us, and once you sort of work together and get a good relationship together and realise where you both stand, I think that's the best thing for the industry. And for the industry, we want people putting tiles down, buying tiling materials. That's what you want to promote the industry, really, and protect it.
It's quite clear cut when you start to put it in front of people and you make it quite clear, like, we have the demographic. And it's no different to when I have a conversation with you, Ollie, is that we've got the bricklayers, you've got the tools, like, we can help you in a way. We're not marketing guys at all, but we have the audience, so let's work together. And that is essentially how we approach that market, not necessarily for brands, but for the associations who also offer training, and said, look, let's start upskilling the workforce. Instead, I know you guys are looking for new bricklayers, but why don't we also upskill them? Because there's a lot of new systems that they've never heard of or never used, why don't you start to reach out to these guys now who've never used your equipment? You might get more sales, but you're also upskilling an industry, a very old industry that's it's probably not been updated in 10 years at least.
Yeah.
So then they start to, okay, yeah, maybe. We'll get back to you.
I think this is where, right at the very start, it talked about how we're in an increasingly digital world. And I think what both of you guys do is you embrace that to create communities. And that's how you can engage with people a lot closer. So if I look at it from a brand, we make measuring tools. You want to be a part of that community, and more traditional routes to market and talk to end users, it's not as powerful as being a part of that community. But I actually think when you're there, listening to you guys and listening to the passion that you've got for what you're doing and the trade you're in, it's quite infectious. And I think that can be quite powerful in itself, that you bring training bodies together, colleges together, manufacturers together, and you have a shared goal to promote trades in a space that's quite traditional and quite old fashioned and needs to modernize.
Yeah, it was the quite recently we done the National Brickwork Tutors Conference. Get that one right. And we had, I think, like 50 or 60. Was you there?
Mike was there.
Yeah. We had like 50 or 60 bricklaying tutors from across the country. When I say across the country, it was quite surprising how many people turned up. And there was a lot of tutors who aren't bricklayers. They don't know how to say teach. They probably do how to teach, but they don't know how to form arches and cut voussoirs and do tumbling in. A lot of the stuff that's just lost.
They follow a curriculum, don't they?
Yeah, they follow curriculum.
Read from a book. Well, I say they read from a book.
Yeah, read from a book, and all of the traditional bonds and skills are left with the people that taught me and the people that taught him. So Leighton taught me a lot of stuff, and it'll be the person that taught Leights. If that doesn't get taught in college, it'll just be lost. No one will know how to do it. And what we're trying to do is bring that back through our conferences and teach tutors how to do all these more intricate bits of brickwork. The stuff that makes bricklaying sexy. The stuff that people look at and go, oh, that's nice bit of Georgian work, or gauge brickwork and stuff that you've seen when you go, oh, wow.
So we have the opposite. So in ours last year, I had a meeting with South and City Birmingham College. There's only 2 colleges in the whole of the UK that do tiling.
Yeah, I can believe that.
And they're at a real risk of shutting down because they're not getting the people enrolled. I think last year it was 16 apprentices in the whole country. That was what was in there, and obviously you got percentage that drop out. So most of ours come through course providers, which, if I'm honest, out of all the course providers out there, there's a lot of people out there making a quick bit of money, but not providing a good service.
These are just like the cheap ones. You go online and become a tiler for like 400
That's
quid in
it,
a week.
become a tiler in a week. That's the ones. And there's some really good ones out there, but I don't think they're getting the support, obviously, that they should be getting from the right people to be promoted as the ones to do. So where we see so many people coming into the trade and they've done a week-long course and it's like, yeah, you're ready to earn £55,000 a year starting from tomorrow, they're completely away from where they need to be. So that's why we do all the free training that we do. So it's for all levels of like tilers experienced, and we're getting a flood of tradesmen that are not actually competent in doing what they do. And that's not their fault because they've been sold it, but you've got people coming out that are not qualified to do the job that they're doing, and they do get lost.
So, mind you, it's no different to an apprentice in brickwork now. They'll go and do 2 years, do their level 1, do their level 2. While they're doing their level 1 diploma, they have to do if they get an apprenticeship, they'll do an MVQ2. And then technically you're now a bricklayer. But what they're rudely mistaken is that they've probably got another 4 years before they're going to see any sort of, which I think was having this conversation, another 4 years until they're actually going to see a proper day rate or even have the skill set to be achieving a half decent measure on a price. don't get me wrong, there will be some people that can do it quicker than others, but normally you've got to do your 2 years at college and then another nearly 4 years on site. So when I get bricklayers that come to me and say, I've been a bricklayer for 4 years, I'm like, is that 4 years on site or is that 2 years including your college?
Yeah.
So they'll go from the day they started college to the day they've come to me. I'm like, yeah, you're an improver, mate. And that's fine. I'd rather people just be honest than try and blag their way through it.
Yeah, and the problem is it only goes back to themselves, because if they go too far in, start a difficult job that's way too difficult, they've written their reputation and their career off before they've even got started by taking something on that they can't do.
Yeah, we all make mistakes. They are costly.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, it's like we start all of our training when we're talking about measuring equipment, saying to people the most costly mistake you'll make on a construction job is a measurement one. And most people are self-employed. If it goes wrong, stop myself from swearing then. If it goes wrong, it's you that has to go and put it right.
Yeah.
You that pays the money to do it.
Whether it's material measurement or measuring a room or cutting the make
time as well.
Wrong cut.
Your time's your money.
You usually find as well some mistakes later on, the costs, and we've seen some where we've had customers come to us to try and resolve an issue with like a tiler or something like that. We've only had one that has been a member, but some that are not members, and we can only give them advice to what they should be doing and stuff. But once it gets to a certain point of the project, same as you start bricklaying on the wrong slab at the wrong measurement or something. Once you get near the end and it's realised, you're not talking about a couple of days, you're talking like tens of thousands of pounds worth of damage, which is bankruptcy for most people.
Yeah.
I know we had one job where a bricklayer had run the wall, the blockwork wall through, but then there were several walls that came off of that wall, so the measurements, and he set that one wall on the wrong side of the line, so it was 100 mil the wrong way, which meant that every single wall going that way, all several of them, it was a prison, I think, was wrong. Every single wall had to come down and be moved 100 mil because you just went wrong to the wrong side of the line. 100 mil, nothing, 10 centimetres.
And the cost of doing all that's
probably like it was a bit in excess of 50, 60 grand.
Oh. And what's that? That's just materials. That's not even
Just materials and labour.
Materials and labour. Cost of a mistake.
100 mil mistake, 10 centimetres.
Which actually is a nice segue. So what we want to finish our podcast with is some quick fire questions. And one of them was, what's your biggest fail been? So start with you, Ash. What's been your biggest fail?
Just in anything?
Yeah.
Or construction?
I was going to go construction, but I feel like you might have something better in your personal life you've got.
Is this work or personal life or both?
I don't know, yeah.
It's work.
Yeah.
Time when something's gone wrong.
There's been loads of things.
I hate being wrong.
Loads and loads of things. Like as an apprentice, I got made redundant from my boss when my wife was pregnant with our youngest. There was no telltale signs or anything. It was just, look, there's no work for you anymore. So what we were saying about people not being quite ready for doing jobs, I thought I knew, but it turns out that I didn't know nowhere near as much as what I needed to know. And so there was quite a few mistakes that you sort of trying to navigate over, and you realise you're making them as you're doing them and you don't know the way around them. So there's been a few of them, but mistakes. I told the wrong house in the wrong tiles before. So like in a new build, I've gone in and the paperwork says these tiles in this room. I've told the whole bathroom and gone, there's loads of these left over. They're well overhauled on these. Gone into the next one, started tiling. I'm like, we're short. We're well short. And then it's clicked. I've got 7 of them left and I'm 7 short in here. You know, like you start doing the maths and then you get that gut feeling. You're like, it's wrong. And no matter how much convincing with the customer, they had to get the customer down because it was built to their thing. They wasn't having none of it, even if I provided it free. So it was.
So did you try and tell them that you've upgraded them? It looks better this way.
Well, they'd selected the tiles. So it was custom order, and I was even prepared to give them like all my labour for free and everything like that. But obviously, because time you take it back off the boards are ruined. It's all rebuilding. So that's probably one of the worst ones that I can think of.
That's a good one.
We're talking probably about £4,000 or £5,000 worth of.
Well, when I say it's a good one, it's a good example, not a good experience.
I think one of my biggest mistakes was I did try to run before I could walk by myself, trying to set up my own construction company. The word big construction was where I made the mistake. I'm a bricklayer. I'm not a construction company. And I took on extensions. Typically, I'd build the shells. And then I decided that I could go one step further. And it's like, why don't I just offer the complete package? And then we make margin on getting sparkies, plumbers, carpenters, all that jazz. And yeah, that didn't go too well for me because then you're now relying on other people.
Yeah.
So as much as I might get up at 5 o'clock in the morning and go to work every day and make sure materials are there, doesn't mean everyone else will. And I still feel bad about it now. Like I just got it so wrong. I took on an extension, the first ever one where I said I'd do everything, and it just the plumber put some pipe. I found a plumber. He put pipe work in. It started. I didn't know it was leaking. It was when I was handing it over to the customer, and she said, "Oh, there's mold in the cupboard. Brand new kitchen, just been fitted. I've opened the cupboard doors. I've looked, and there's mold. And I've taken the cupboard door. I've taken the actual whole unit off, put it down. The wall is absolutely soaking wet. So next thing, hammer and chisel into the wall, and one of the elbows that the plumber had fitted at this weird angle was just spraying a little bit of water. Must have been doing it for 4 or 5 weeks. There was that. He fit the gas pipe in like 15 mil, and I think it was meant to be 22 or something. And gas pipe, believe it or not, do all naturally have a bit of a leak. But there's a threshold to how much is too much. So I had to rip all the screed up. There was a couple of people that didn't get paid. It was just an absolute mess, and it was sheerly because I just ran before I walked, and that was a big mistake on my behalf. And I learned a lot of lessons from that quite quickly, and that is down to you need to know what you're doing before you go and try and run a big construction company. Taking on work that you don't necessarily know. Got there in the end, a lot of pain, a lot of cost. Yeah, a lot of cost.
They're both quite harrowing experiences.
Mate, it was.
I mean, when I was younger, there was a lot of jobs that we'd done. Obviously not to that extent because it's just tiling that you look at now and you look back at pictures.
Cost. It was terrifying.
No, but like you look at it and go, how have I got paid for that? Like that, like who was told that? If I was to look at that now, I'd be like, look, you need to go to further training. But because I've been released early before, I was ready, same as you, but not to that level. And there was nothing like Tyler's community back then. So there was no one to ask. It was literally like, Google it, see what comes up. And I know it sounds really bad like nowadays when people say, oh, I had a look on YouTube. But it was literally like that, which I had no choice but to do it. But
I was relating like every other day. Like, Lates, what do I do now? What do I do here? What do I do? He was like, fuck. Then my dad came down and my dad helped me. That was another thing. The plasterer had put the render on the walls. I come back the next day, it had all fallen off. Like, it was just like the wrong people just doing the wrong jobs, and it was a mess. My dad came down in the end and put it on for me.
So the only person I could really ask was the person that I used to work for, but we'd be left on the sore point after that with my wife 6 months pregnant. So there was no one to ask. So it was like, know what I know and then just make up the rest sort of thing. Which
it kind of goes back to the basis for setting up the community groups that you've got to try and upskill and improve awareness, skill set. Next quick fire question I've got. I'll start with you, Sam.
Try to be quicker this time.
Well, you had the best example. You just needed a little bit of time on it. This bit easier. What is your favourite tool? It doesn't have to be a Stabila tool, because I know that would be top of your list anyway.
Do you know, I wouldn't single out any, but cordless tools, they've come on so far in the last, since I started, it used to be a big, like a car battery, and it used to last 10 minutes. But now cordless tools are so much better. Laser level as well. I will say, your Stabila laser level, that is massive. But yeah, battery tools. I think now not having to run leads and stuff, you're probably the same. But
I don't do anything on the tools anymore at all.
So same question. You don't get away with not answering it, but you collect stuff, don't you? You've got some
like a weird obsession.
You've got a weird obsession.
You collect old cutters or something.
Trowels.
See, I collect old cutters. I don't know why.
Right. I've got.
What's the prized possession?
I've got a war-issued 1944 brick trowel, and it's not been used.
Not been used.
So that had been issued to someone during the war, and it's stamped 1944 with a mark on it, which was for army issue. But yeah, I think my favourite tool is probably going to be my trowel. Not that trowel, but
Your
a trowel. Yeah, because I don't know if you with your trowel, so your trowels, tile setters, trowels or whatever. But bricklayer will always know it's his trowel. Like you could put a trowel down in amongst 100 trowels, and he could walk through them, pick them all up, and he'd know which one's his.
Yeah, ours we've got so many different size ones. I suppose there's a bit
Right. Yeah.
like 10 different size ones. You not got a trowel from the Berlin Wall as well?
No.
The sledgehammer as well.
Yeah, no, I'd say it'd be my trowel. Not that I use it, but yeah, trowel.
Nice.
Level's all right. Helps.
It's not how you're supposed to answer the question. You should
Sorry.
to bill a level.
My yellow measuring stick.
Yeah. Good man. Last question that I've got for both of you. Sam, I'll start with you. And it is, what's the one thing that you wish people knew about tiling? It's one thing that, normal people whose houses you're going into, it's the one thing you wish that they all knew about tiling.
There's a lot of handymen that do tiling, and anyone can make it look good on the surface, but I would say most of it is the product. If you don't use the right products, we've seen houses 20, 30, 40,000 pounds worth of damage and claims just from not waterproofing surfaces. So it's not about how it looks, it's the practicality of it, like the right products. We've seen tiles falling down into baths on like, luckily people haven't been in there and that, just because they've used the wrong product, and it's product knowledge more than what it looks like as well. They're both important.
Expectation. I think the biggest thing is a lot of the time it's what people expect. One, from an apprentice level, what they're going to get paid, to bricklayers that are qualified, trying to get the best rates possible. I get that everyone wants high rates, but it's like set your expectations realistic, and that's for me is the biggest one. Is just you got to learn to know what you're worth. And I spend a lot of time talking people through how to value themselves at their skill set, based on their capabilities, and try and educate them on that, opposed to just going into a group and saying, what do you guys charge for soldier courses? What do you charge for a square metre of brickwork? Well, that's all well and good. If we take Ash Mahoney or Charlie Collison, for example, who can lay X amount of bricks in an hour, I'm like, you can't do that. That's not your skill set. So they could charge X amount because they lay a lot faster. So what can you lay a day? And then we start to go through a bit of a formula, and then that's how you get your day rate. And it all makes a lot more sense. And the expectation is the right expectation, because you are getting what you're worth. So yeah, it takes a bit of time, but it's expectation.
Do you find different rates across the country as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I mean, where we live is going to be a lot more expensive than it is up in Scotland or somewhere like that.
You're going to say up north, aren't you?
Yeah.
It's a bit cheaper for us.
Yeah, you say that. I mean, obviously we had Josh come with us to Germany, and he's based out near Lowestoft, so it's like the arse end of the east, pretty much, East Anglia. And then you got Lates, who's over in the west, Wales, which has always notoriously had bad rates. But it seems that the rates were better in Wales than they were in East Anglia, which is very strange, unusual.
So with us, it's quite, you can see demographically where the rates are, and going back to them courses, some courses there's 2 in one city, and they're throwing out so many tilers that well-respected tilers just can't compete because they're getting undercut all the time with 20 people coming out every month.
Saying that they're a tiler.
But then we get some that would say £10 per square metre less up north, but then the houses are like a third of the price. So actually, although they're earning less, they're like per metre, they're probably better off cost of living.
Well, guys, look, probably all we've got time for. So just wanted to say big thank you. One of the topics we've talked about is how you manage to juggle doing all the things you've got to do. So I'm aware taking a day to drive up and help us out with this podcast, it's taking quite a bit of time out. So really appreciate you being here. But also, I just want to say thank you for all the stuff that you're doing as well for your trades. You know, it's really nice to hear the motivation and the why behind why you're doing it, why you put so much time and effort into it. And it goes a long way to improving trades across the country. So massive thank you. Any questions, DM us, and thank you for listening. Subscribe now and follow along wherever you listen to your podcasts. You can listen and follow The Measure of Things on Spotify, YouTube, Apple Podcasts, and join the conversation with us on Instagram at @Stabila_UK.